Welcome to another edition of the Jungle Juice podcast. I'm Sam Gormley. He's Mick Nelson. Mick, we're a day later, but we're a day smarter. We're a day wiser as well. Isn't that what we're supposed to say here? Like, talk ourselves up.
I
Like
I don't think that's true for me. It might be true for you, but yeah, we're here a day later. Happy to see everybody here. We're gonna have a fun show today. We get to do a mock schedule. I had a lot of fun doing this.
Yeah, so without further ado, we're going to pretty much jump right into this. So the Bengals schedule will be released Wednesday. So if you're not watching live, May the 15th, Wednesday at 8 Eastern, which the NFL clearly talked to us, Mick, and they said, hey, what time is your all's show usually every week? And, we had that conversation. They helped us out. We said, you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. So it'll be perfect. So literally Wednesday, we might even start the show, Mick, like 2 or 3 minutes early to where we literally find out the schedule live on air, and we're just going to give you our actual reactions live. Maybe we'll start at like 7:55 or something, so it actually happens, and maybe we'll just read it out live and learn together or something. So that'll come up. So what we have done is we have taken the time to mock the schedule ourselves, is what we think. Now, before we say this is all in fun. Like, we know that this is not what the schedule is going to be like. If we get like 2 right, I think combined, we're going to be pretty happy.
Yeah.
But I think with this, though, it'll open up some interesting conversations about why we pick some games to be primetime, why we didn't pick some games to be primetime. And then also there's some interesting parts and new changes to the schedule this year where we're going to say, whether this impacts the Bengals, whether it doesn't or not. So I think it'll be all some really interesting conversations. We thank everyone, though, for tuning in to today's edition. Remember that you can always follow us on our social media channels. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of it. You can subscribe to us there on the YouTube channel. Great to have you join us that way. We're also on your favorite podcasting platform. You can listen to the show that way as well. But Mick, before we get into our mock schedule, there is a couple of news headlines that we should at least mention. As far as former Bengals signing elsewhere, Tyler Boyd signs a deal with the Tennessee Titans. I don't think that really surprises anybody. To me, the once the Bengals made their selection at pick number 80, that was, even though Jermaine Burton is not filling a Tyler Boyd role, but once the Bengals got that wide receiver, that to me solidified that Tyler Boyd was not going to be back. I didn't think that there was really much of a scenario that he was going to be back anyways. It'll be weird to see him in Tennessee, but I think that's a good spot for him.
Yeah, I think it's a good landing spot for him. Definitely wasn't surprised to see him not come back to Cincinnati. I think it was heavily speculated that he was going to go join the Steelers. Him and the Steelers kind of balked in their contract negotiations. So at least he's not in the black and yellow, so I can still kind of root for him along with Brian Callahan. He's joining Brian Callahan and his staff over in Tennessee. I think he's probably an upgrade at the slot position for them. I mean, they had Nick Westbrook-Akine before. Now they have Tyler Boyd. I think Tyler's probably a little bit of an upgrade over Westbrook-Akine, so best of luck to him there.
Yeah, I think it's a good spot. And like you mentioned, he knows Brian Callahan's system, which is a big positive, and everything that goes along with that. And then, Mick, I know you were absolutely just heartbroken. I thought we were going to have to just completely cancel the show the entire week once you learned that Marcus Bailey signed with the Cardinals. I know you had some dark moments in the corner, right, with a bottle on just your absolute depression about losing Marcus Bailey to the Cardinals.
My favorite thing about this is like Marcus Bailey wrote like a really heartfelt Instagram message. And I think
really?
Probably 80, saying like goodbye to Cincinnati. I love you all. I love the fans. Like it was a long paragraph. And I mean, I know who Marcus Bailey is, but I just am imagining 90% of the fan base being like, who are you? You played for us?
Can you give me your favorite Marcus Bailey moment as a Bengal? Can you name one?
No, I mean, I do remember him. Like, I know he was thrusted into action in 2021 because Logan Wilson got hurt on, I think, a kick return or a punt return.
Correct.
And like the whole time we were just pissed off. We're like, why in the hell is Logan Wilson playing special teams in the first place? But I know Marcus Bailey came in. I think he played reasonably well until he got hurt. I think Marcus Bailey also got hurt at some point. And then you were seeing people like Joe Bocci and
Clay Johnston.
Clay Johnston. That was the name. Yeah,
Bengals legend.
That guy's name was slipping my mind. But yeah, I don't think Marcus Bailey played much longer. Like he did. I think he got hurt pretty within like the first 2 games that he was replacing Logan Wilson for. So yeah, I don't know. He was a good locker room guy, I would assume. He stayed all 4 years on his rookie deal. 7th rounder out of Purdue, I believe. Yeah, have fun in Arizona. Thanks for contributing. Best of luck to him.
Tell you, I don't think when we started this podcast about a year ago that we would have thought that we would have just spent 3 minutes talking about the career of Marcus Bailey on this podcast. But look at us go. That's what we've done. We have grown as hosts and so on in doing that. The other big news, and really I do say it's big news, is Joe Burrow. He returned to practice. I don't know what they really want to call what they were doing. He was throwing. He was rolling out. They posted the videos. He spoke. He said he feels good. And one of the things that stood out to me the most with Burrow is he pretty much had the mentality of, like, I kind of learned my lesson of that if my body tells me something, I'm going to listen to it now. And I think that is important for a guy who has dealt with some injuries. But then again, almost all of his injuries have been fluky.
Yeah, they kind of been. I think he's probably more alluding to the calf calf injury that he experienced last training camp. I remember him saying, he felt some tightness in the calf. Obviously, he was wearing the compression sleeve on his leg, and he still gave practice a go anyways. Like, dude, if you stayed off of that for probably a week, you probably wouldn't have had a strain in your calf, and we wouldn't have started the season 1-3. So, yeah, it's encouraging words from him there. I'm hoping that he finally has a normal camp. He hasn't had a normal camp, and he's going into his 5th year in the league, which is just bonkers to me. He had COVID, then the ACL, the
appendectomy.
The appendicitis, the appendectomy, and then this calf. The 4 training camps in a row. So hoping the 5th time's a charm here. It seems like he's gonna be, based off of what you said, it seems like he's gonna start listening to his body a little more. He already got his appendix taken out, so that obviously can't happen again unless if something medically, some type of medical craziness happens there. I think I'm liking our odds here.
I really wish that we could, as a doctor, like, what are some of the other body parts? Like, he doesn't actually need, his gallbladder? Like, let's just get rid of it.
Gallbladder removal. Just get rid of all. Take one of the kidneys out. You don't need 2 kidneys.
Yeah, no, he doesn't need 2 of them. Just in a case that, he might have a family member that might need one. Like, let's just get rid of them all and put them on ice or something like that, just so we can do it. But that's most of the Bengals news from the week that we had. So I think, Mick, let's jump into our mock schedule for the Bengals. Again, the schedule is going to be released Wednesday, May the 15th. We're going to be live with a live reaction to that. I don't really know what that's going to look like. But, Mick, we kind of decided that we're going to do some semblance of a game with this between us. Yeah. What do we decide? 1 point if we get the week in the game correct, and a point if we just get a primetime game correct.
Yeah, and then if we get primetime and the game correctly in the right week, I know I said 2 points. Let's do 3 points on that. That'll be
let's do it. I was even going to say 5. Like, that should be like the wild card of wild cards. If you could correctly predict that the Bengals at the Titans in week 8 is going to be Monday Night Football, then you deserve a gold star, right, with that. But then again, I don't know that I like that, because there's a chance you could jump out to a 5-point lead right away based on what I'm assuming your week 1 schedule is.
So I think we'll just sweet spot for that. Yeah, I think 3 points is a good sweet spot.
So let's open this up here. And again, for those, if this isn't your thing, come back next week. Like, we're fine. This is all for fun. Like, we're just having fun. Is obviously we know we're wrong. Like, we get it. We know that we're wrong, and we know it in a way. This is kind of stupid, but you know what? Why not? Let's have some
What
fun.
else are we gonna do? Like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
May.
It's May. Yeah, it's May. We're doing an entire show next week based on what the schedule is. So pretty much it's what this show is going to be today, but which is going to be in the right order next week. So it'll be kind of fun. Week 1, Mick. The Cincinnati Bengals will do what?
So I've got week 1, Thursday night football, home opener for the Chiefs against our Cincinnati Bengals. I think the NFL has learned their lesson from what happened last year. Last year, they they scheduled the Bengals Chiefs game for New Year's Eve of 2023, and it ended up being kind of a dud because Joe Burrow, tore a wrist ligament and was out for the rest of the season. So I think they're learning their lesson with that. If you want Burrow and Mahomes, let's do it Thursday night football. It's one of the Sam told me beforehand, it's one of the few potential home openers for the Chiefs that the NFL would probably do. I know you were talking about the Texans as one of the other ones, and then I think who are the other ones?
So Ravens is an opportunity, and Chargers to me is an opportunity because your other ones, if you look at that, are so the Chiefs' home schedule is Bengals, Ravens, Texans, Chargers. To me, it's one of those four, and then you've got Bucks, Raiders. You've got who else am I forgetting in there? Broncos, and there's one more team in there that I'm forgetting. But to me, it is clearly going to be one of the four. Like, I think we can both agree that we would be stunned if it is not Bengals, Ravens, Texans, and I know you might not be on the Chargers train, but I am, and that's what my prediction is. I think it'll be Chargers at Chiefs.
See, I don't think the NFL likes. I think they try to avoid divisional matchups for the very first game of the year. I think they've tried. I mean, hell, the past 2 years they've been doing interleague or interconference games
for the first part of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you had Bills and Rams a couple of years ago, Lions and Chiefs last year. It's the Bucks and the Saints, by the way, would be the NFC teams that could play in Kansas City, and I don't think either of those would be intriguing. Maybe the Bucks. I don't really see that though. The only reason I'd say the Bucks, they won the division last year, and was the prior Super Bowl matchup, but I think that they looked at the Chiefs-Lions game as like a potential Super Bowl preview, which it was close to being that anyways. In 2023. So I think that since the NFC teams that are going to play at Arrowhead this year are kind of, I don't think any of them would be intriguing for week 1. I think it's going to be probably the Texans, Ravens, or Bengals. But I just personally think that they kind of bit the dust last year with Joe Burrow getting hurt. I think you want to see Burrow and Mahomes. You might as well just do it in week 1. That way everybody's healthy.
To play devil's advocate to this, to your point of you want Burrow Mahomes. At the same time, you could easily say last year Burrow wasn't healthy week 1. Year prior to that, he really wasn't healthy week 1. And the year prior to that, he was coming off an ACL.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Do they take that and say, let's throw that and let's just roll the dice again and hope it's a late season matchup when maybe both teams are healthy? But then again, as we know, very well, it could be that, and I hope this doesn't happen because he's a great player, but Patrick Mahomes could hurt his calf in training camp this year. Like, you don't know. It's the NFL when it comes to that. Like, you can never truly predict what's going to happen. Hey, Beckham, appreciate you for joining us here today. I'm going to go with a divisional matchup. Bengals hosting the Browns.
Oh, come on. They're not going to play the Browns week 1 2 years in a row.
I think it's going to be a divisional game.
No way that happens.
So I'm going Bengals hosting the Browns week 1. I think it's going to be a divisional game. Last year, half of the games week 1 involved divisional teams. So I'm playing my odds. I think that the Bengals are going to get a home game this year. I don't think they're going to play the Ravens. And I don't know, and the Bengals hosted the Steelers to open up the year a couple of years ago. So I think that's why I'm saying that Bengals-Browns week 1 to open up the year.
Yeah, I don't see them play. I don't see them playing the same team 2 years in a row. And then I was kind of teetering on the fence of, is this going to be a home game or not? But I mean, I think we went 3 straight years before last year of home game in week 1. I think we're probably going to see another away game to kind of try to even that out a little bit.
One of the things to consider, at least when I was making my schedule, and I don't know if you did as well, Mick, is the Bengals have a massive thing that they have to keep in mind when making their home schedule.
Oh, shoot. I did not keep that in mind. I know what you're talking about.
The Cincinnati Reds cannot be at home. Well, I think in the history of Great American Ballpark and Paycor Stadium, only once have they played on the same day, and that was because the Reds made the playoffs. The Reds are on the road week 1 and 2. They are at home week 3. Now, they were home week 3 last year, but if you remember, the Bengals played on Monday Night Football, so it took that out and, crumpled it, so it didn't end up mattering. So that's why I think that we're going to see home for the Bengals to open up the year, because I'll just jump into week 2. We'll just do snake, how we do this, Mick. So I'll say Bengals hosting the Broncos week 2. Why? I have no reason for it. I just think that the Bengals are going to host the Broncos week 2 because I think it's going to be a home game because the Reds are on the road that game.
Okay, so this could kind of bode well. It could go either way because if it's the Thursday night game against the Chiefs for week 1, the Reds are playing at home against the Astros that day. So that
game's in Kansas City though, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know. That's where I'm saying, they could start away in week 1 because you're saying that weekend, that Sunday the 8th. Obviously, they are playing away. The Reds are playing away at the Mets, so that would actually track. Okay, what'd you say was your week 2 game?
Bengals hosting the Broncos.
Okay.
Frankly, I'm just thinking that I want to give myself awful memories of an early season home game against the Broncos. Brandon Stokely. Yep. And I want to avenge that.
Game?
I was not. I was watching on TV, and I
was at the Creation Museum. Sorry, rather would have watched the Bengals game. Anyways,
for you, what do you got?
I have got the home opener against the Steelers, week 2, 1:00 game. I think it's kind of the same way. It's kind of the same thought process that Sam's thinking there, where just get a bad home game out of the way. They played the Steelers pretty late in both matchups last year, so I think they'll probably sneak in an earlier game in 2024. So I think week 2 bodes pretty well for them to play the Steelers. No, 0 for 2 on this one. You and I don't have a matching game yet.
I'm intrigued to see if we end up doing it. And in fact, I realized, you know what? I'll just switch these. Do I want to switch these 2? Because I had yes, I will. Because I had a reasoning for one of mine, and I realized I never actually looked. So why not? I'll switch it. So now it's your turn for week 3.
Week 3 away game against the Carolina Panthers.
So I just switched away from that. I had it, and I just switched it away.
We're running it back to 2018. I think they played week 3 against the Panthers that year. The Bengals started 2-0 in 2018, and against the Ravens and the they start off against Colts and Ravens 2018. Lost to the Panthers at Bank of America Field in week 3 of 2018. I think that they usually play the Panthers pretty early in the season. I think most games I saw were all in September or October. So that's kind of what my thought process was in the game going to Carolina in week 3.
So I had that, but I'm now switching, and I'll explain as to why I'm switching it later. I'm going to now say week 3 Bengals at Ravens. 4:25 game, though. This to me is going to be like is one that CBS is going to try and grab early. That and the Bengals have played like 75 straight primetime games at Baltimore. I think that's an accurate statement. It feels that way, at least. They only play primetime. Really, it's just 2 years in a row. Mm-hmm. Is it 2 years or is it just 1 year?
No, 2 years, because
2 years in
last
a row.
year Thursday
Yes.
night football, then they had Sunday night football in 2022.
And then 2021 was a day game because they played them really well. It was like a 1:00 game. So I'm going to say week 3, Bengals at Ravens, 425 game. So I don't get any bonus points for that. Maybe I get half a point for calling it as a 425 game. I don't know. I think we're just going to make up the rules as we go.
I think let's do 2 points for 425 game and
3 for a prime.
Yeah, 2 points for 425 and then 3 points for prime time.
Okay, that works with that. Week 4. Well, you know where I'm headed, Mick.
Yeah.
Bengals at Panthers. Here's my reasoning as to why. So this is a game that we have talked about going to because you have family not far from there. It's a game that the Bengals should win. It's not a far trip, and tickets probably are not going to cost that much. So it's one that we have considered in traveling to. Each fall.
Is this the broadcasting awards?
It is. It's the broadcasting convention. So I just know that my luck, it's going to land on the same weekend. So it is that weekend. So I'm guaranteeing that that's going to be Bengals at Panthers, and I'm going to have to make a decision again based on that. So that's my reasoning as to why. And I had it week 3 because it was week 3 last year, but it's actually week 4 this season. So I'm guaranteeing that the Bengals are going to be headed to Carolina week 4. Guaranteeing it, Mick. You heard it here first.
Yeah, that you're really just manifesting that.
Oh, I'm mentally preparing myself for it. What do you have for week 4?
So you and I were very close to having 2 games matching up here. So I have at the Ravens in week 4, and I'll put that as a 425 game. Not much else to say. I think we're going to have some away games early. It's just a feeling. It's a gut feeling I have. Nothing to back that up. But yeah, I think that I don't think we're going to have a primetime game against the Ravens this year at all. Just because we've had 2 years in a row with primetime games against the Ravens. I don't see the NFL blessing us with that a third season in a row.
We'll see if I agree or I disagree when it comes to that. Because we might have to have a discussion with it. Week 5, Mick, who do you got?
Week 5. I've got at home against the Patriots.
No way.
Do you actually have that?
Yep.
Hey!
We almost just had 3 weeks in a row. If I would not have done that last second switch, I wonder what the odds of that are.
To manifest this whole, broadcasting awards thing, Could you just tell your boss to shove it? Like, hey, I'm going to Charlotte. Sorry.
See, a lot of it would depend on. Luckily, the Sunday is not the day. It would almost be one of those things because it's almost a guarantee that Bengals Panthers is going to be a Sunday at 1:00. Like I feel like that's pretty safe to say that's a Sunday at 1:00 game. So it'd almost be one of those things. Just after the game, I'd drive to the conference or something like that and just not be able to stick around. We'd figure that out when the time comes. But so yeah, week 5, home against the Patriots. Do you have any reasoning as to why? Because I don't.
So what I kind of did with my methodology, I looked at like prior matchups, and ever since the Texans were added to the league, so I was looking at history of matchups. I think historically the Bengals and the Patriots have played in October whenever they played. I think that's the most amount that's the most populated month of games. Except the last 2. That's true. Both of those were in December. But I think 2013 was in October for sure. I think 2010 was in September. I think there was a couple the Randy Moss primetime game where he probably had like 200 yards against us or something. I think that was an October primetime Monday Night Football game. I don't know. That was just kind of my logic and reasoning behind it.
Yeah, I really had none. Which I guess for most of us is not what it is. Week 6 for me, Mick. I'm gonna drop in my first primetime card.
Okay.
Bengals at Chargers. Sunday Night Football.
Okay. I like where your head's
Sunday
at there.
Night Football. That to me is a Burrow Herbert. I think it's an interesting potential of being an potential for, they want the story and all of that, going to LA. And then, who doesn't want to watch Dax Hill play against his former college head coach?
Yeah.
And Chris Evans, right? Because that's who
There we
everyone
go.
thinks
Yeah,
about.
huge. Chris Jenkins.
Well, no, he actually matters. I was just talking about the players that don't matter on the team. So yeah, Bengals at the Chargers is my Week 6 prediction on Sunday Night Football. Where are you headed for Week 6?
Okay, dropping in my first, not my first, my second primetime card here. Sunday Night Football at home against the Browns. Sam was complaining while I was driving home yesterday that the Bengals have not had a primetime home game in 6 seasons. He's not counting the 2020 game against the Steelers.
This is against a division team.
Yes. Yeah, gets a division team. He doesn't count the 2020 game against the Steelers, so that leaves the 2018 game against the Ravens in Week 2. Was the last primetime home division game, I believe. So
regular season too. We do want to make sure that we mention that. Yeah.
Yep. So I think that what they're going to do, the NFL is going to screw us and give us the team we match up with the worst, and they're going to give us the Brownies, and it's not going to be a good matchup.
With who did they sign as their backup quarterback? Jameis Winston is quarterback, right?
Dude, Jabo or Deshaun Watson. There's a theme with those two quarterbacks, by the way.
Hooday, Frank. Appreciate you joining us. Week 7, where are you headed?
Week 7, 425 game away against Dallas. I'm guessing you did not have that game.
Not at that time, no.
Oh, okay. Yep. No reasoning behind it. I think it'd be a good midseason matchup. I think it's been kind of scattered when they play the Cowboys, like in recent years. We had the Week 2 game in Dallas.
The Andy Dalton revenge game, which was December, wasn't it?
December. I think we've had a couple November sprinkled in there, a couple Octobers. So I think it was just throw them in one of these months, or so.
I'm going to say the Bengals will head to Nashville that day, and they're going to go to the Titans.
Okay.
Why?
You were close.
Why? I have absolutely no reasoning as to why, but I just think that Week 7 is going to be Bengals at the Titans when it comes along with that. Week 8, my turn here. I'm going to take Bengals hosting the city near West Virginia.
Okay. Steelers
1 o'clock game. 1 o'clock game. Yeah, one of those, though, that I guess it's too early to be flexed, but I just think that'll be a 1 o'clock game. But it would not surprise. I'm not going to predict it, but I'm more that one wouldn't shock me if that's a 425er.
Yeah, I think if they were later in the season, it could be one.
Yeah, but I think it'll be a little bit earlier. And I'm going to say Week 8, Bengals hosting the Steelers. And I'm assuming that Week 8 for you, you're headed to Nashville?
Yep, headed to Nashville in Week 8 on October 27th. We were pretty close on that one. I thought you were, because you said Week 8 Titans is like an example for something earlier in the podcast. I was like, oh, maybe we have that one pretty
close.
And
I literally made specific that I did not look down at my notes, so that it was completely just off of the cusp. So there was no, but I'd be surprised if that's a primetime game. And I think that's what I was referring to there. Like maybe a Thursday nighter. Like maybe you could potentially see that.
There is like somewhat of a storyline with the Titans. One, the playoff games. We've played each other them out, and then Callahan's the bigger storyline there. Playing against his former coach.
They might be able to say, well, it's a Thursday night game, but it's not that far.
Yeah.
So it's not as hard on the bodies. Does the NFL actually care about that? I don't know. I don't know with it. Week 9, Mick.
Oh, Week 9, Halloween, Thursday Night Football, submitting a primetime card here. Washington Commanders at home. I think there's just a really cool storyline between Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels. Both had very similar college careers. They were graduate transfers. Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow both ran out of luck in their previous schools, Ohio State and Arizona State. Both resurged their collegiate careers at LSU. or they were throwing to nothing but dudes. Burrow was throwing to Justin
Justin
Jefferson.
Jefferson
Jaden
and
was throwing
Terrence
to Malik
Marshall.
Terrace Marshall, Thad Moss. Jaden throwing to Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., and others. So yeah, I just think there's a cool storyline there. I think that would be a cool Thursday night football game. I doubt it would be on a Monday or a Sunday night. So yeah, that was just my thought process there. I think it'd be a good game.
That would be brutal to go at Titans and then play again. Like Titans is an AFC North team. Like just based on just kind of, and it might change a little bit now with the new coaching staff.
Vrabel's gone, yeah.
Yeah, but that was always, and I don't know that you want to play a Thursday night game after an AFC North like team.
The thing is,
tough.
the commute's not that bad. Like coming back, like that's for Nashville going back to Cincy. Like I think that is the turnaround time would be fairly doable.
An hour and 15-minute flight, if that.
I would say like a 45-minute flight, but yeah.
I'm not a flight expert. I don't know. For week 9, I'm going to go to the Big Apple. Bengals at Giants.
Okay.
Why? I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, just send it.
Sure. Early November. Who doesn't want to spend early November there in good old the Big Apple? I'm curious here. Week 10 for me. Same. Bye week.
Yep.
Bye week. So we're both
they've had a lot of week 10 bye weeks. I think. I don't think they're going to do it early this year. They did it in week 7, I think, last year. So.
And that's kind of my thought process is that I think it'll be a little bit later. So that's why I said 10. That sounds pretty good to me.
The previous 2 seasons, in 2022 and 2021, they were both in week 10 for the bye week. So I'm hoping it's then. That's like the sweet spot of bye weeks.
Week 11 coming out of the bye week. For me, the Bengals are going to hit the road. They're going to head north. Monday Night Football, Bengals at Browns.
Okay.
I think you're going to see at least one AFC North game on the road be primetime. I'm hoping it's not the Ravens because they've had 2 in a row there. And technically Pittsburgh, I mean, that game, I guess it was kind of a primetime game because it was a Saturday game, if you remember this past year.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking of 2022 where it got flexed out.
It did get flexed out, but it was still, so they've gone 2 straight to Pittsburgh 425 games. So that's why I think, it's Cleveland's turn, even though the Cleveland had the Monday Night Football debacle on Halloween 2 years ago. But so that's why I'm going to say Bengals at Browns Monday Night Football for week 11.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Bengals at Browns. So I've got something kind of similar going away in the division, but I have the Steelers away game for week 11 coming out of the bye. We'll call this. Yeah, why not? We'll do this as a 425 game.
You're very road heavy with your 425 games. All of your 425ers are on the road so far.
Yeah. I think that's just the way they work. All of our better matchups are on the road, I think, this year. We have a very robust home schedule.
To me, there's only one game that excites me. Throw out the division games. Like, those don't count because those are every year. But really, it's the Eagles. Like, that's the only one that's somewhat that I'm actually looking forward to going to. Week 12, Mick, what do you got? This is Thanksgiving week, I do believe.
Is this not the 17th? I had the 17th. This was the 17th, the week of the 17th. So I think in week 13 is Thanksgiving week. Because Labor Day falls on a weird day this year. Labor Day falls
12. On nope, I just counted it up. Week 12 is Thanksgiving.
So what's the first Sunday of the year? Is it the 15th or the 8th?
The 8th.
Huh. I'm gonna make sure I'm doing math here right. 13,
so we got week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes. So it's week 12 is Thanksgiving week. So I guess your Halloween game was not actually on Halloween then.
Week 9 is Halloween, I thought.
11, 10, 9. That would be week. Oh, now I'm all screwed up now. Okay, let's count this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, 8 is Halloween. And 9 would be, so your Thursday game is on November the 7th. Against.
Shoot. So wait, 1. Sorry, guys, we're counting with our fingers here. So week
this is
5
great podcasting.
We agree week 5 is on the 6th of October.
Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes.
Week 6 is on the 13th.
Yep.
Week 7 is on the 20th.
Yep.
Week 8.
Oh, so is on the 27th. Yeah, so you're right. Week 9 is.
Okay.
So you're right. You're right. But Thanksgiving is week 12. So if you would.
Is week 12?
Correct.
Well, no. Well, it depends on which weekend you're calling this Thanksgiving weekend, because.
So I guess it's the week after. No.
Yeah. So week 12 is the 17th. Week 13.
So I guess it's 13. Yeah. Okay. So you're right. You're right. Did I screw this up here? 13,
anyway,
14. 15.
Who did you have on the? Am I picking
man,
here?
I'm all screwed up now on my stuff here.
You want me to give you my week 12 or a week 12 pick?
Sure. Because I'm all screwed up.
All right. At the Giants, week 12. Sounds like a perfect, mid-season November game to go and play against Danny Dimes or Drew Lock, whichever one it ends up being. I think it's probably a coin flip there. Definitely a 1:00 game. There's no intrigue.
My week 12 is against the Commanders.
Okay.
1 o'clock.
Game?
Yeah, 1:00 Sunday game. With that, week 13, I'm gonna throw my primetime card here. Bengals at Chiefs, Sunday Night Football.
Okay.
Week 13.
It's gonna be a fun matchup.
That would be December the 1st. So that's right there in that first part of December.
Hey, I'm gonna highlight Frank's comment here.
Go for it, because I gotta fix my schedule here.
You're good. Frank, if you're listening to Nick Wright, that dude's a bum. Or Colin Cowherd, he's also kind of trash. Bengals aren't looking for a new quarterback anytime soon, even if there's an unfortunate injury to Burrow. There's no reason for them to draft a quarterback early within the next 5 years. Burrow's locked up. He's making $55 million a year. That would be franchise suicide for them to draft a quarterback on top of a $55 million a year contract. And also it's Joe Burrow. So, all right. Did you fix yourself here?
I'm working on it right now. I'm all out of sorts here. I think I'm actually right, and I've just confused myself even more. While you're what did you say your week 13 is? I don't think you've given that yet.
I have not given my week 13, but I'll throw a 425 out there because it's a West Coast team. Home game against the Raiders. It's going to be the return of, I don't know if you love him, I don't know if you hate him, but the return of Marvin Lewis coming to Cincinnati. He is the assistant head coach of the Raiders. They're a West Coast team, so it's a good chance we play at 4:00 just to appease the Las Vegas market there, and also the Oakland market, I guess. RIP to the Oakland Raiders. So that's what I have for my week 13. And then while Sam's fixing himself,
so yeah, week 13. Then that game would be December the 8th.
What?
Or no. It's December 1st.
I've got November 24th. Pull up a We need to pull up a calendar so I can show you how to do this.
No. It's here. So week 1 is 9/8.
Week 2 is 9/15. 9/22 is week 3. 9/29 week 4. 10/6 week 5. 10/13 week 6. 10/20 week 7. 10/27 week 8. 11/3 week 9. 11/10. Ah, shoot. That's where I went wrong. So 17th. Yeah, 1 second. I'm adjusting the dates. So this will be December 1st for week 13.
Yes. Okay.
Then December 8th. 15th, 22nd, 29th. Okay. So that's where we went wrong. So I gave the Raiders as my Week 13 game. Did you give your Week 13?
Yes, at Chiefs. So why don't
Chiefs.
you drop in your 14 here?
All right, 14. Well, I surprisingly did not make this a primetime game, or 425 game, but I think this will be the home game against the Eagles. We've typically played the Eagles in December. Now I know we did play the Eagles in September of 2020, but we've played the Eagles in December quite a bit. I think that there's just other primetime games that are going to be scheduled, and to appease both Eastern markets, just to place it at a 1:00 time slot, give them a good broadcasting crew. But yeah, that's what I have as the Eagles game, Week 14.
So in order to create my thing correctly, I'm gonna have to redo this all. Because now this has to go up here, and that has to go down here. Okay, because I had a prediction that I had to drop in here, and you know what? I agree. Eagles at home for Week 14. That is what we were at, right?
Yes.
But I'm going to say that's Monday. Yeah, that's going to be Monday Night Football, though.
Okay, so we got another game that's the same. 2 games that are including the bye. No, 3 including the bye week.
So Week 15. Which is going to be played on the week of December the 15th.
Yes.
Or that Sunday is going to be Bengals hosting the Raiders. 1:00 game.
Okay. Not a 4:00 game.
No.
Not appeasing the Vegas market.
No, doesn't always do it that way. They sometimes make the West Coast team still play at 1:00.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco did a couple of years ago. So I don't really know that that's going to have any impact when it comes along to it. So I'm going to say the Bengals are hosting the Raiders Week 14.
Okay. I like that. Week 15, you're up.
Thursday Night Football. Bengals at the Cowboys.
Okay, so what's the date on this again? Is this the 13th?
This game would then be played on the 19th.
That would be Week 16, I think.
Yes, that's where we're at, right?
No,
I just said 15 was Raiders.
Oh.
So it's your pick.
Oh, my bad. Man, this has been a mess.
We should have put this into a Google sheet or something.
Scheduling is hard, okay, guys.
And we're just doing this for one team.
Yeah, I would love to be a part of the scheduling team though, for the NFL. That sounds like a really fun gig. I'm not gonna lie. Week 15, Monday Night Football game, prime time, away at SoFi Stadium against the Chargers. Just to reiterate, Sam has, he's put out, he said some things about, the Burrow versus Herbert matchup, kind of primetime football. I think Harbaugh's probably going to have the Chargers at a good spot later in the year here. And other storyline, I don't know if you touched on this. This is Joe Burrow's return to SoFi Stadium, where he, still a storyline. It's still going to be a storyline that they're going to talk about, I think, is, the last time Burrow played at SoFi, we know.
We know.
Yeah.
So we know. You'd bring us down.
I think that game's for sure a prime time game.
I agree, and I agreed with you. So I said that Week 16 is Bengals at Cowboys Thursday Night Football.
Yes. My Week 16, 1:00 game away against the Browns. It'll be the last away game of the season. We're going to end up with 2 home games, I think, to close out the year. But yeah, they got to play the away game against the Browns. This is the last one I had. I think that the NFL tries to kind of double up home games and away games on the schedule, I think, as much as they can. So I think 2 away games and then 2 home games to end the season here.
Alrighty, so we are now on week 17. In fact, now that I'm looking, we have a big home game that neither one of us has dropped in.
I think we're going to have the same week 18 home game.
Well, week 17, I've only got one home game left.
So what's your week 17 game here?
Christmas Day.
Ravens.
Bengals hosting the Ravens.
Yeah, it's my week 18 game. So what do you have? You want to just close out your week 18 too while you're at it? We'll just
at Steelers.
At Steelers, okay.
Because Bengals have closed against the Browns, the Ravens a couple of times. They haven't closed against the Steelers in a while.
That was my thought process as to why they won't because they just don't play the Steelers in week 18 or like in the I think they've done it once in the past 10 years.
They're due.
We've been saying they're due for the past like 5 or 6 years or whatever. Like, I just don't think they'll do it. I think that they're just going to do. We did it once. The only time I can remember was 2014, which was the AFC North Division
Josh Brown
championship. Yes, good game, by the way. That was a really good game. We did not pull that one out, but
I'm intrigued by your week 17 now. I figured it out. I had to sit there and think. I was like, who did you not put in there? So we have pretty much the exact opposite as far as this game.
Yeah, so I've got the Broncos home game against the Broncos for week 17. I think we traditionally played the Broncos later in the season in December. I think we definitely played in December of 2021, if I remember correctly. It was either late November or early December. Obviously, the 2014 game, the Monday Night Football game that kind of broke. I think we broke some type of primetime curse. Remember the Jeremy Hill game, beating Peyton Manning at home, Monday Night Football. That was an awesome game to watch. So yeah, that's why I have the Broncos game at home, week 17. Definitely a 1:00. I know I kind of brought up the argument that like the Raiders game would be at 4 to appease the Vegas market. I don't know if they would do the same for the Broncos because I think the Raiders are a full 3 time zones away. The Broncos are only 2. I think Vegas is Pacific time, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, we'll go with the Broncos week 17, and then closing out. And I'll call this a 4:25 game, but it's also kind of a cheat because, 50% of the games are at 4:25 or 4:00 or later.
Well, see, you can't call that game because it will be they'll put it out as no time on that game to open up. That's how they always do it for the last week of the season, so you can't get any points on that.
Okay, fine. So just Bengals hosting the Ravens week 18. I just don't think. Yeah, I know you're saying the Steelers week 18's due, but I just don't see it happening. I've been saying that that's been due for years.
It's not like either one of us really knows what's happening, though. Clearly, because we can't figure out what the hell weeks are.
Well, that was I'll take most of the responsibility there.
It was 50-50 there. It was 50-50 there. I was all screwed up over here. I was looking at ESPN, and I don't know if I was looking at last year's or something, but that hurt my brain a whole lot. But there you go.
You were pretty flustered by it, but yes.
No, it was more. I was just trying to figure out because I now got so many notes on here, and it is a mess.
So we've got, I think we got 3 games that are correct, or 3 weeks, because we both got the bye week in week 10.
And I think we agreed on Patriots. And felt like there was, I guess that's it.
No, and then we agreed on, didn't we agree on the Eagles at week 14?
Yes, you're right. Week 14. Yes, you're right. Week 14 Eagles. I just said that that's going to be a Monday night game. In fact, I have the Bengals going on a stretch of wait a second. Do I? No, okay, I'm good. I know what I did here. I need to now put this into a spreadsheet so it stops hurting my brain by me looking at it.
Or we could just put it into an actual calendar.
Yeah, that could work as well. We'll put this onto a graphic and release it on our social media as well. If you want to go back and follow along when it comes out, so you can message us and tell us how wrong we are.
How
Because
many
that's
people do you think are gonna like find this schedule and they're gonna be like, "Oh, the schedule got leaked"? This is
but
it.
they have two of them.
Yeah,
It's interesting. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm intrigued by the primetime games.
how many do you have? Do you have 4 or 5?
I had 5, and then I had the wild card of Christmas. And I don't know if you want to, if that technically counts as 6.
I think in spirit it does, but I don't think it does in terms of the. There's like a quota, right? Where like a
6.
maximum.
You cannot have more than 6. So I
Oh,
don't
you
know
can have
whether
more than 6.
correct.
Oh, I thought it was 5.
6.
Well, then maybe that is included in the 6.
Or maybe it's you can have 5 at the beginning of the season, but you can get flexed into a
Flexed
6th
into a 6th, yeah.
or something. I don't. We're not going to be right, so it doesn't
I think
particularly matter.
there's a higher chance of us being right on this than draft picks.
I guess
Or
the
actually,
odds.
I maybe not, because like if I just did my homework and looked at top 30 visits, I think we probably could have narrowed down the draft picks pretty easily, or like a little more easily than we did.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's
I spent too much time on the draft, like doing what I would do, like what I would do in the draft spots. But yeah, that's I don't know.
we'll look forward to on Wednesday seeing what the schedule is for real. We'll break it down. We'll say, should this been a primetime game? Should it not have been a primetime game? And we'll probably go through and pick the Bengals record. As a first glance of what it'll be. Will they win? Will they lose these games? What will their record be looking like? And so on, because why not? And then obviously we will change that come last show before the regular season begins, because why not? There's a whole lot that can change between now and September the 8th, or you say September the 5th, I guess, is to when the Bengals will play either the Chiefs, the Browns. They could play anybody. Well, not anybody, but they could play one of 17 opponents. So it'll be interesting to see in 17 scenarios. So you had a 1 in 17 chance of saying who the Bengals will play that week. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how it goes along. Join us Wednesday. We'll be there for it. And yeah, we look forward to it. Do you have anything else that you want to say, Mick, or should we? I think our brains are a little fried.
I don't know. I just hope we like one of us gets like 12 of these right, and we're just like Nostradamus over here projecting the Bengals schedule. I think that would be good for clout. Be good clout for us.
Yes, because that's exactly what we need.
Just need some. We don't have to. We can. Nah, shoot. We live broadcast this. I was like, we could
fake it.
Well, I was gonna say we could. Yeah, we could fake it. Yeah, we could do that. We could also edit out all of our flustered moments of figuring out how to do math with a calendar.
So that would be half the show tonight.
It was a good chunk of it.
Yeah, it was. Oh man, it's been a long week. It's been a long week. Thankfully, tomorrow is Friday. But if you don't have anything else, Mick, I think it's probably good for us just to head on out, and we'll be back next week with the schedule. So we look forward to that.
Yeah.
Follow us on all of our social media channels. We're also on the your favorite podcasting platform, and we look forward to seeing you next week on Wednesday at 8 Eastern for the Bengals schedule release. So until then, Mick, Houday.
Houday. Thanks.